Hi, it's Rich Carrubba for bowlingball.com. I'm going to talk to you about a friend of mine who's recently passed away. He was a football great. So first of all, we have this article posted on Bowlversity under editorials. Click on the Bowlversity button right at bowlingball.com homepage. Look for editorials, click on that, and you'll find the link to this football great and bowler Joe Perry. It's a written article. It's done pretty nicely. It's got a lot of information about Joe's football career and what I want to relate to you briefly today in this video. Now, as a personal friend, I thought, and we started these editorials a while back, and we've been getting a lot of good reviews on them. We've done articles on great bowlers or Hall of Fame champions, and for different reasons we talk about editorials. Could be on a variety of subjects. But I wanted to talk about this one today because I was particularly touched by this individual, and I think it's important for those who love sports, any sport, baseball, football, basketball, you name it, and bowling. And you'll find that there are successful athletes that compete in other sports that really enjoy it when they're not working on their own particular game or after they retire. And that was the case with Joe the Jet Perry of the San Francisco 49ers. When he retired, he loved the bowl. You'd see him around some of the best bowling centers in San Francisco Bay Area. And I first met him once with Hall of Fame PBA player Larry Lobb, good friend of mine. And Larry and I ran together as kids. We knew each other when we were very young, as I did all the bowlers in the Bay Area, really. But Larry introduced me to Joe Perry, and I find him a warm, gracious man with a good personality. He was very interested when he looked you right in the eye when you shook hands with him, and he was just a wonderful person. He loved to bowl. He was a very good bowler. He'd average 190, 195. Later years, when the equipment got better and the lane conditions a little softer, he was able to average over 200. And I used to watch Joe bowl pot games all the time, gambling, down at the old Sports Center Bowling Center in San Francisco. In fact, I think he bowled maybe in a league, in the same league when Barry Asher, a PBA Hall of Famer, was in the Army and got either on leave or was separated from the Army up in San Francisco, as well as Larry Lobb. So Joe has a history from the 1960s of bowling right through the time, I think in the 1980s when he probably finally no longer bowled in the late 80s. But I can tell you he loved the bowl, and I can tell you because he was an old teammate of mine. He would compete in those pot games. He would compete to try to win. He wanted to win at all costs, and that's no surprise of any competitive athlete. You don't make the Hall of Fame in the National Football League if you're not competitive, ladies and gentlemen. And he was just as competitive on the bowling lanes, although he didn't show emotion like a lot of people do. Just because you see people running them out and getting real excited, some people keep their emotion confined, and Joe Perry did just that. We call him the Jet because he was a fierce competitor on the football field, and he was just as much. He put all his legs, all his energy, and all his power on the lanes with the sole intent to throw a strike. I bowled with Mr. Perry in a league, and it was in Pacifica, California, the place, the old Sea Bowl. It might have been under a different name at the time, and it was about 1982. And Joe and I were teammates. And I remember one instance, and this will tell you about the man. Apparently, he had lost a league title some years before to a local PBA champion from the Bay Area, a man named Dick Agee, who I knew well. He's also deceased at this time, but it didn't set right with Joe. He just didn't like losing to this gentleman, and this gentleman was in the same league with us. So when it was our turn to bowl his team, I'm pretty sure Joe was committed to beat Dick Agee's team. So he told me he was really getting up for this, and he wanted to win this game, and in this match. And so the first game, Joe bowled 250 something. I don't remember, 256, 7, and I bowled a low 200, like maybe 215. And I remember him telling me, "We got to do better. I need you next game. If we win this next game too, we can keep him from winning the league, and we have a chance to win the league." But when he looked me in the eye, and I could tell he was serious. I mean, he was committed. He gave me that stern look in the eye. It got me, and I don't back down from too many men, but I'll tell you, I paid attention. And he wanted to return the compliment to Dick Agee. There was no question about it. And as I think back on it, we got to the second game, and he told me, again, he reminded me, we've got to step it up a notch. Well, as luck would have it for me, for our team, and for Joe Perry, I managed to bowl a perfect game, 300 that game, and my God, I turned back, I walked back over to him, and I looked at him, and I shook his hand, and I said, "This was for you, Joe," because before he had told me, "Rich, it's your turn," and then I did it for him. I got 300, it couldn't have been a better scenario, better script. He was so happy. He sat down calmly. Our objective was complete. We beat that team in that match, and Joe was very pleased. But what was more important than anything to me was to see how much he wanted to win and how important it was for him. Can you imagine him muscling up on his teammates as he undoubtedly did on the football field? As much as he muscled up on me just to win a match in a bowling league, for crying out loud, most people wouldn't get that excited about league play. But it was in his eyes. And those simple words, "It's your turn, Rich," turned the switch on for me because I knew he was dead serious. It worked out well. When I turned back to him and said, "That's for you, Joe," he shook my hand, he smiled politely, sat back down, and we had accomplished what he wanted. We won that series against his old nemesis, and for that, it's something I'll always remember because I learned that the fires of competition burn deeply inside any champion from any sport. And I learned that night that my friend Joe Perry was a winner as a man and as a player, whether it was on the field playing football or as a bowler. I don't want to get into all the details about Joe's professional football career, but he was a world-class track athlete in his youth, and as a fullback or a power running back, he was so quick when he received the ball from the quarterback. He played in $1 million backfield with the San Francisco 49ers. You got to go back to the 50s and 60s. So if you're young and you haven't heard or you don't follow football, it won't mean a lot to you. I'm going to let you read the article for those of you who want to read about Joe Perry's career. But it was pretty impressive, and he was a very impressive man. And after you read all his statistics and you know he's in the Hall of Fame and all the things he did for raising money for charities, and you always saw him around the bowling lanes. You always had a friendly word for everybody. He was always sincere when he met you. The football world today mourns the passing of a great player. And I mourn the loss of a friend and a former teammate. Thank you.